And to breaking news now, and Port Pirie residents are being urged to evacuate as rising waters threaten the town. Stacey Lee is there. Stacey, what's the latest?
John, the SES has just sent out a text message alert for residents here to consider evacuating because of possible flooding. And as you can see, water levels certainly are high. The jetty is now completely underwater and the creek is threatening to overflow. These strong winds will be sticking around too, and they could wreak havoc overnight. It's a similar story in Blyth as well, just south of here. That town was one of the worst hit after 2 tornadoes ripped through yesterday afternoon. They packed a punch with winds in excess of 125 kilometres an hour, ripping off roofs, uprooting trees and even flipping semi-trailers. They saw hailstones the size of apples causing widespread damage, which means residents are still cleaning up.
And I just drove down to the town, which looked like a bomb had hit it.
My son and I were standing outside and, a door from the car shed took off past us, so we thought we better run inside.
It only lasted about a minute and it just, as you can see around the place, it's just destroyed everything. Not a tree left standing, so yeah, no good at all.
Flood emergency warnings have been declared in nearby Clare and Auburn as 2 rivers there threaten to burst their banks. Vines are underwater and shockingly so are some cars as roads are inundated with floodwaters. The storm sent waves crashing over the jetty at Moonta and the high tide nearly submerged the wharf at Wallaroo, and authorities are urging people not to enter flooded roads. It's just too dangerous, especially in conditions as unpredictable as this. Jane?
Without power, the latest figure we have for that is more than 20,000 people.
Right, OK, let's go to Stacey. Conditions look pretty bad where you are in Auburn. Much damage to property?
Thankfully, no. It seems like residents here have been heeding the warnings from authorities. There is still a risk of flooding, as Amanda said earlier. Residents here have been told to stay on alert, and it's a similar story in Clare, just north of Auburn. That town is at real risk of isolation if floodwaters get any higher. Shops in the main street have been closed and sandbagged. There's been a precautionary evacuation of a nursing home in Clare, and also people who were staying in the caravan park have been moved to higher ground. They've had an extra CFS strike team sent in to help put some relief for those emergency crews who have been working around the clock for the last 2 days. And they're saying now the main threat is from waters on roads. They're urging people, please don't attempt to drive through roadways that have water on them, just like this one behind me. They're too dangerous and the conditions are too unpredictable. Nat?
Yep, that is fast-flowing water, isn't it? Thanks, Stacey. Thanks, Amanda.
It's going to be an anxious night for many thousands of residents as more rain ravages our flood-affected regions. Reporter Stacey Lee joins us live from Virginia. Stacey, what's it like out there?
Jess, it started raining here about an hour ago, but just in the last 10 minutes it's really begun bucketing down, so it's no wonder residents and farmers are anxious. As you can see, roads here are flooded, and if we take a look over here, this is just one of many farming properties in the area that's already underwater, so this rain will only make it worse. The Bureau's predicting between 15 and 40 mils in the next few days, which could mean the Gawler River could again break its banks. Clearly, this crisis is far from over, as the number of homes and properties affected by it sadly continues to grow.